All right, welcome to Leap Critics Corner. Today we're going to be comparing and contrasting live action and animated films and TV shows. We've got a large group of brilliant minds here. Recently, we've just seen the live action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, some of us. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about things we like, dislike, and some pros and cons, and then also some things that we wish had not been adapted to live action, or some things that we wish would get adapted to either live action or animated from one or the other. Okay. So, guys, thank you for being here today. Say hello to the camera. Hi, camera. Okay, let's talk about Beauty and the Beast first. Okay, we'll use that as a starting point. Actually, give us a little wave if you saw Beauty and the Beast, the live action. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what worked with Disney's new live adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. Maddie?
I saw more of a connection between Belle and their father, and I thought that was really nice to see versus the cartoon version. It didn't seem like a father-daughter relationship, but in the live action it did, so I thought that was a nice touch.
So there was more chemistry and a little bit of a story there between Belle and her dad. Anybody want to comment on that?
As far as the father goes, I remember being a fan of the original movie, and as much as I would love to admit that they have a better relationship in the action related film rather than the cartoon, I just thought it would be a little bit more fun if they made the father quirkier like they did in the original film. So he was kind of sitting back and reserved, and I didn't really connect to that as much.
Okay. Very good. Make sure you're speaking loud when you talk. Doing a great job. Okay, so you liked the quirkier aspects of the father in the cartoon adaptation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are some other thoughts that you have about the live action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, those of you that saw it?
I felt like Gaston was more portrayed like he's supposed to be in a live action. I felt like we got to see a more angry, more disturbed side of him that made him the way he is. Instead of the cartoon version, it was I'm angry, I was in the world, that kind of thing. They went into why, and they showed bits and pieces more than in the cartoon, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
From a psychological standpoint.
Okay, good. So they gave him more of a backstory too. Okay, so we've talked about Gaston and we've talked about Belle's father, really. We've also talked about the chemistry between Belle's father and Belle. Morgan?
I liked how they tried to make it like the same kind of movie, kind of like that.
Okay. What were some of the modernizations in the movie?
The accent in the live action were more English, kind of, versus actual French. I picked up on that. I'm not sure if anyone else did, but I saw that, so.
Okay. What other, what did I just ask?
What other ones did you see?
Modernization.
Oh, modernizations, yeah. What other modernizations did you see? What about LeFou's character? I mean, that was a big...
Much more flamboyant, much more not able, but more willing to be open. It wasn't like his sexuality, but he was comfortable with being a little bit on the more flamboyant side. And I enjoyed seeing a character who is openly okay with how he or she feels
Okay.
and like portrays.
Did anybody catch the subtle transgender nod also?
Not really.
I,
No.
no.
There was one point where during
Oh,
the
yeah.
attack at the end,
They were doing drag.
Stanley and Madame
They were doing
Legato.
drag, yeah.
yeah, the wardrobe the wardrobe dressed the three ruffian guys up in women's garb. Two of them ran away, and one of them kind of gave
was
an
very
approving,
appreciative.
gave an approving wink
So I
towards the
think
camera.
it was definitely a more progressive scene, and I like seeing the progression of society.
Okay.
I'm glad that they included something like that.
I'm going to ask Maria this question, and then if anybody wants to kind of follow up Maria, and we're not going to talk about this for long, but do you think that for children's movies for these adaptations, that including that kind of thing is good societally, or is it just inappropriately placed? Maria,
I
what do you
think
think?
it's, good and like they could have gone about it in a worse way. And like
Okay,
it's not
so-
like they hammered it home either.
Okay.
He's not kissing dudes. He's just there.
Yeah.
But
Does anybody?
he was dancing when they do that at the very end.
Yeah,
If
that
you
was
saw
That's
it
true.
there.
That's
That
true.
was
The
for like
dancing
3
scene.
seconds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's those subtle
It
things,
was
right, that
subtle.
made the modernization different. Does anybody have an opposite opinion? Does anybody think that it should not be included in these adaptations in these modernizations?
I'm on the fence about it because it is good to show kids how society is changing, but if it's something, it is something you should slowly go into. You shouldn't just sit your kids down and say, oh, this is how it really is. You can't just shock them like that. So I thought they should have at least put it in bonus scenes, so it's still there, but there's not like a trigger warning.
Okay, what about some of the dislikes of the adaptation? Things that you preferred with the cartoon version from back in the early 90s? Maria?
This was a minor thing, but there was like I didn't like that the cook turned stove had no lines in this,
Okay.
and that there was no instance where an animated trunk eats somebody during a battle.
Okay.
True.
Okay.
Like
There were-
that's really it though.
There were a couple of points in the cartoon that were like amazing visually for cartoons of that time. And that was the Be Our Guest music scene and the ballroom scene where Belle and Beast danced for the first time. Those were like cinematic achievements for cartoons of that time. How do you think they translated? Did you like them better in the new one or in the old one?
I like both, but
Kia?
Well, for Be Our Guest, I would say visually, the animation in College popped out better. But I prefer the original Be Our Guest sequence because there's one scene where Cogsworth is stuck in like Jello, and they didn't even mention the salt, and they didn't even mention the Jello part. So I was
Mhm.
like, the Disney kid in me was like, why didn't you put that in there?
Mhm.
And then
What about the ballroom scene, Morgan? Did you like it? Did it work?
I liked the designing of the costumes
Mhm.
and also the music of it.
Okay.
But compared to the original, what did you think? Like compared to the animated?
Well,
like I said, did the same kind of.
Did the same kind of thing.
Dress,
Okay, yeah, they
the
tried
same.
to. Gotcha.
All right, so let's generalize now a little bit. Okay, so let's generalize now a little bit. There have been a lot of cartoons, especially from the 80s and 90s, that have gotten turned into a live-action movie. We've got the G.I. Joe movies, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Jem and the Holograms, Speed Racer. Okay, there's been a lot of things that were originally cartoons that have now gotten a live-action version. Eric, what do you think about this? Is this overall a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Well, it varies depending on the studio, really, but it's unfortunate that when it comes to adapting them to screen, it always has to be the mainstream stuff that got like a bunch of success. When there's a lot of underrated cartoons from the 80s and even the 90s that, despite not being as popular, all had amazing concepts that could very well be well done in movie form, either live action or animated. One of the examples of these is Dino Riders, which has one of the most amazing concepts ever, which is spacemen that take over the minds of dinosaurs and use them as weapons in an intergalactic war.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Sectars, which is basically He-Man but with bugs.
Yep.
And of course there's the Inhumanoids, which was the concept of 3 ancient evil gods who are attacking the world, and a group of humans in power armor have to stop them along with sentient trees and rock monsters. I think that if you really dig deep into the underrated pool, you'll find some really great concepts, not just in 80s cartoons, but in modern and classic video games too, that also deserve it, as well as webcomics. There's a whole plethora of underrated stuff that deserves the theatrical treatment. And
Okay.
I think that if Hollywood really looks into those, we can really get some amazing stuff.
Okay. Matthew Bulky, I see you raising your hand.
Well,
What
I
do you have
think-
to say?
Part of the problem I have with a lot of these live action adaptations is the mindset they come in, that Hollywood comes into them with. I mean, like, I'm just gonna use Transformers as an example. The cartoon knew that it was silly and, rolled along with it. It knew what it was and it had fun with it. The live action movies try to act like they can they take themselves seriously, and that actually makes them feel more ridiculous. They have this really over dramatic, humorless style that it doesn't work for me. I can't take it seriously.
Okay.
Or not that I can't take it seriously. Well, I mean, I can't take it seriously, but if it was willing to acknowledge its own absurdity a little more, and it could make us laugh with it instead of at it.
Okay.
If you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do get what you mean. There's
Can I
another.
add on to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then there's cases where, like, it seems like fans of a certain show have been waiting for it a long time, and then when the product is out, it's like the people who made the movie are just making fun of everything the fans loved about it,
Mhm.
and the fans themselves for liking it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Dustin, you're laughing over there. What are your thoughts on some of the live action movies that have come out of cartoons or whatever? What are some of the ones that you like?
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. What was good about Scooby-Doo? Or what was bad about it? Did you like it or dislike it?
Dislike.
Okay, why did you dislike it? Did it follow the same kind of plot formula as the cartoons, or did
No.
they? No? Well, what was different about the plot formula?
Strange.
It was strange. Did you feel like they were making fun of the characters from the cartoon in the live adaptation, or were they just trying to do them well in live action?
They're trying to get them as close as the animated characters portrayed themselves in the cartoon. Or did the live action ones come across a little bit more like campy and just silly?
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah. And wasn't Scrappy spoiler alert, wasn't Scrappy the bad guy? in the
Yes.
first one?
Scrappy was
I mean,
the bad
come
guy
on,
the whole
Scrappy
time.
was.
Given that he's one of the most hated cartoon characters of all time.
Did you have some?
I do have something to say. I think another pitfall that I forgot to mention a lot of cartoon to live action adaptions make is, why do they have to keep putting, crass adult humor into these? I think they think it's going to attract mature audiences, but it doesn't. It just makes the movie feel more infantile rather than less.
I agree with you, Bulky. I think that, as somebody
So
who.
it draws me away.
Yeah, as somebody who loves
Scares me away.
a lot of the 80s cartoons, I get excited when a live adaptation is coming out initially, and I'm like, oh cool, I can get my kids into this and they'll like it too. But then I take them to it, and it's not kid friendly. It's like, oh, well now I can't let them enjoy something that I.
But it also just makes it feel more infantile rather than less.
I agree.
It makes it, what the results when you do that is a movie that you don't make a movie that both kids and adults will enjoy, you end up making a movie that kids and adults both can't enjoy.
Okay.
You see what I mean, right?
Dustin?
I think what I wanted to say is, if you want to draw in a more mature audience, just use a more mature storytelling style.
I agree with you. Dustin, what were you gonna say?
I like that movie Lost in the Dark because I feel it pays homage to a lot of 1980s horror movies.
Okay. All right.
What did you say?
Lost in
Lost in the Dark or Alone in the Dark?
Lost in the Dark.
I don't think I've seen that one. All right, so let's talk about this. This will be our final discussion point. You guys are really giving some good food for thought, and I like how you're critiquing these things. All right, what are the desires for Hollywood? If Hollywood is going to keep doing cross-media storytelling of the same story over and over and over again, what are some of your desires? Some things you wish they would either turn from live action to cartoon, or from cartoon to live action, or even from the book world. Maddie?
I might be the only one in this group who actually likes Fast and Furious, but if I am, I'm okay with that. But I really want to see Fast and Furious turn into a cartoon.
Okay.
And
It's cartoonish already.
Kind of. And then turn into comic book, possibly. But I definitely love the live action, because there's a lot of it, and it's not just cars and racing. There's a backstory to that, and I really want to see something from that turn into a cartoon, because I feel like more cartoons need to have more of a backstory.
Okay. I think that's a good point, and it relates to something I was thinking of. One of the big differences between cartoon Beauty and the Beast and the live action is, in cartoon, everything is always larger than life, and the color saturation is always brighter, you know? I don't know if anybody liked the Tron movies. I loved the original, as horrible as it was. I loved the original Tron movie, and then I loved Tron Legacy when it came out. And then for a short time, Disney had the cartoon Tron Uprising. And I thought that did a fantastic job of taking the color palette and the art and the edginess and even the speed of the Tron chase scenes and putting it into a cartoon. So I agree, Fast and Furious could be a good cartoon.
What about you, Eric?
Now, there are a lot of things that should, and Hollywood absolutely should, adapt to movie form. classic and modern video games, even though that's been varying degrees of success before. While it has done a lot of comics, there's one medium that I think deserves the theatrical treatment.
What's that?
Webcomics.
Okay.
The reason for this is because the fact that webcomics are not exactly following a specific company means they can be as creative and original as they want. And as such, has produced some of the most amazing and creative storytelling I've ever seen that I believe, and I'm going to break a lot of comic fans' heart by saying this, that I believe dwarfs that of the likes of Batman or Superman. Stuff like Slightly Damned, the creators, The Last Halloween, and of course the famous Axe Cop have developed a very large amount of fan base over the years. And while it isn't as big as something like say Batman, Superman, or the Green Lantern, it still is large enough that I think that Hollywood can appeal to it. Plus the fact that it doesn't have as a large fan base as say other mainstream comics means that Hollywood can help introduce the story to people who haven't heard of the comic.
Okay, and it goes back to what you were saying before. Just give us something original. Why keep rehashing the same old stories, right? And I understand why Disney wants to give the live adaptations of their old cartoons, because they've got more technology to do more stuff, but give us something new. So I echo with what you're saying. Morgan?
I think that sometimes Hollywood video or movies do like sad endings and unhappy endings, and I think they should try to do happy endings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question.
I
Going
just
back-
wanted to say, I personally disagree with that. I think Hollywood has too much fondness for cliche happy endings.
Hmm.
I actually like bittersweet endings a lot, where you only get half of what you want.
That's interesting.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick.
But or maybe something bad happens, but it kind of proves a good point.
Yeah.
For those of you who saw the live adaptation of Beauty and the Beast and the original animated series, how did you feel towards the end, when everybody was almost changing back to like inanimate objects and the last petal fell? Did it seem a little darker to you than the animated? Because they had the stool that was the dog, not only turned back into a regular stool, but fall over, on all fours, kind of like playing dead. Did it just seem a little bit darker than the animated series?
It did, but it also brought out more emotion in the characters in the audience, leading up to the ending, which had more of an emotional impact on me, at least, for the live action versus a cartoon. I'm like, this is stupid. But in the live action, I actually felt like I had an emotional impact.
Okay.
Like, I like the slight change they did in the live action one. Because you see in the cartoon, it feels like, okay, yeah, that spell will be permanent, but at least it seems like the Beast will still have company in the form of animated.
But he also,
certain
remember
objects.
he also was shot. Too. Gaston shot him 3 times.
Yeah,
So-
but I wasn't done.
Okay, sorry.
But in the live action one, we get the sense that time really is running out for them, and then they're slowly losing their humanity day by day.
Okay.
And then we actually do see them turn into
Inanimate
actual
objects.
objects, even though it's for a short while, and it's very heartbreaking.
What about bringing the Enchantress into the movie, bringing that idea? Because that was one thing that was different. We actually saw who cursed the Beast, and she was in it throughout the entire movie. And the fact that in the animated movie, everybody still knew that the Beast was there. In the live action one, the curse included people forgetting about the Beast and about the castle and blah blah blah.
Well, I like that they had the Enchantress play more of a role,
Mm-hmm.
because, in her own way, she learned that, she also learned something there, like,
That he was capable of.
yeah, but also that the punishment she unleashed on him and the people in the castle was too cruel. So, and it was realizing that probably was part of the reason she lifted the curse and brought the beast back to life.
Okay, Morgan, did you have something to say? No?
Okay, I have a final thought. This is our final discussion point, and after everybody's done with this, it'll be the end of this panel. You guys have done a great job. I really enjoyed our discussion. There is a crossover between live action and animation in the CGI world, and it has been said that CGI could replace actors. In the new Rogue One movie, of course, Tarkin was there, but he wasn't there, and he looked great. Carrie Fisher was young again, you know. So, and in the new Avatar movie, in the new Jungle Book movie, you only had one actual actor that was on film in the whole movie. In the new Avatar movies that are coming out, who knows? You may have 5 people, you may have no people at all. So, your thoughts on will CGI take over actors' careers? That's our final thought, and we're going to close with that. We're going to go one person at a time, starting with Dustin and ending with Bulky. So CGI, will CGI take over actors' careers, and is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes.
Yes? Is that good or bad?
Good.
Good?
Why do you think so? Is it the fact that you just enjoy CGI a little bit more than live action? Do you think? Yeah?
Okay. Charles?
Charles?
Why not? Hollywood would love it. It'd bring the prices of movies down because there's nobody to pay. There's nobody that's getting royalties. It's all just computers.
Okay.
What is CGI?
Computer-generated graphics.
Right. Computer-generated
Images. Yeah.
Like
Avatar or Star Wars.
there was nobody in Jungle Book but the kid.
Oh, what was the question?
So,
Will
will
CGI
CGI replace actors, and is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes.
You think they will replace actors?
No.
You don't know?
Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Kia?
Will CGI replace the actors? Depending on the movie, I would say. Depending on the movie. You may need CGI, you may not. Hopefully, if it does end up, hopefully it doesn't replace, hopefully the CGI doesn't replace the actual traditional media of films, because as a moviegoer like me, sometimes I come in for the animation, sometimes I come in for the comedy, sometimes I come in for the actors. So if I'm not seeing any actors, at times I get a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy would be like the perfect combination, but like a
You
movie,
could
like
CGI that whole thing.
a serious movie like Forrest Gump or something, I would need like the actual actors. So
Okay.
it really depends.
Yeah.
It depends.
Maria?
Well, I don't think they can entirely replace actors because, for one, imitating human voices in a computer, there's still quite a bit of work to be done there.
You still need vocal actors.
Yeah. And also, I just feel like eventually the public is just going to get too loud and demand a return to something more traditional.
Yeah. Eric? Natalie?
As for me, well, I sincerely hope that doesn't happen because it's going to put a lot of innocent people out of a job. I think that CGI as acting should only be used as a necessity, like it was needed for Carrie Fisher there. But here's an interesting idea. If they could find a way to actually blend CGI actors with live action actors, they could create something like a new form of Roger Rabbit in a way.
They did
That's
that
true.
with Planet of the Apes.
And they're doing that a lot. Yeah, Planet of the Apes is a great example. Okay, Maddie?
I definitely think CGI is gonna take place of actors. However, I would like to see it slow down a little bit because I still enjoy real actors like Fast and Furious. I don't want everything to just automatically go to CGI, and hopefully if it does come to that point, there's still some actors who...
There are some actors you still want to see.
Yeah, and CGI shouldn't just take over completely. I want to see a mix of both. I don't want all actors, I don't want all CGI, I want a mix of both.
Okay, and finally, Volky.
Okay.
Well, CGI has, in my personal opinion, unfortunately replaced a lot of things. You're seeing less and less actual sets. You're especially seeing less and less actual stunts. But, you know, actors are unionized. We know that. They've been on strike before. Not only that, actors have a lot of fans who I'm sure they would mobilize as well. I don't think they're going to give up without a fight.
Yeah,
War
I agree.
on Hollywood.
I agree. I don't.
More
I
like
don't-
a civil war within Hollywood.
I'll see a Denzel Washington movie because Denzel's in it, and I don't
Exactly.
mind that he's getting old.
Exactly, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't
Okay.
think the actors would allow it to happen, and, well, I don't want it to happen either, but for different reasons, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've mentioned before.
All right.
I really miss practical stunts,
Yeah.
especially.
I agree.
And set building.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Location filming.
thank you, everybody. This has been a great Critics Corner discussion. Next week, Fruit Stripe Gum. Should they still produce it? I don't know.
I'm